Hello, beautiful people. Danyelle here, your intuitive alchemist and masculine mindset coach. I wanted to jump on and have a little chat about something that I well and truly know within my own soul, what has taken place through my experience and how I've integrated back into a more wholesome, authentic space, and what I see with a lot of the people that I work with. So I'm going to wait for a couple of people to jump on. When you do, say hello, say where you're watching from and what your Friday evening, afternoon consists of. I am at football training and before he starts training, I'm going to do this and share from this to bring some awareness. So a lot of people don't quite understand that you can disassociate from your body. So your body, your being, and your mind are all separate to the one whole. So when you're working on yourself, it's important to be able to work on all areas. You got to look at the logical side of your mindset and your energetics, and then also with your intuition and your higher self. So to integrate yourself into an embodied human, remembering yourself in consciousness, it's important to focus on all areas. You can't just do the one. Now, what I tend to see and what I've experienced in reflection in my own life is that people, when they have had so much trauma and pain, or belief systems where they believe they can't feel, have disassociated from their body. So what that causes a lot of challenges within itself. So when you have a child that's gone through maybe a lot of physical pain or emotional pain, what happens is it starts to split. So when you're in pain or you're avoiding pain, what happens is you go into a form of separation. So separation is the splitting. It's where you're no longer integrated in one wholeness and connected to your higher self. You split. So what happens is people who have had pain, emotional, physical pain throughout their childhood will continue to go through emotional and physical pain, and then they recreate different situations where pain is inflicted on them. Sometimes the severity of so much trauma, the only way and coping mechanism is to split and disassociate, because that level of pain at such a young age is almost like, if you feel it, you probably what happens is, no, you won't die. You think, if I feel this level of pain, I'm going to die. So to cope and to not be a complete traumatized mess, that is where the split and the separation happens. So for instance, it continues to happen. So sexual abuse when I was younger, and then each time, every single time you have something traumatic happen or someone hurts you, you can split out of it so you don't feel it. Okay? So each situation you can split for longer periods. Maybe that's probably a better way of explaining it. So you'll split for a longer period of time where you actually disassociate from your body, because your body holds the feeling. Your body holds the uncomfortability. Your body tells you the warnings. So when you spend long periods out of body, you can go around feeling very numb, and you also can have an extremely high pain tolerance within your actual physical body. So because I spent so much of my life actually disassociated from my body, and I had to reintegrate all of that to cope with the levels of trauma I've had, and to cope with the amount of feeling I had, being so overly sensory and able to feel people and feel their thoughts, feelings, emotions, being so connected. and not knowing what's mine and what's someone else's when you're young, and you don't know how to decipher what's your energy and what's your parents' hurting energy, or the kid at school's hurting energy. And all you know is that I feel that pain, and that pain is really intense. So you start to, the best way to cope is to just not feel it, to numb it. So a lot of people, this is why people go into addiction. They numb this feeling. Whereas what you can do is your mind can be that strong that it can actually just numb it through separating and completely cutting off that energy. So I see a lot of really, I see traumatized people come through that have no feeling. They don't feel things. And this is where sometimes when you've disconnected so much and you've disassociated so much from your being, you can maybe crave exciting or what do you call that, like those like adventurous experiences. Oh my goodness, my brain went walkabouts. I've just had like a lot of healing today, so I'm still integrating. Like thrill seekers, okay? So people that seek thrills, they seek excitement, they seek danger, they seek something because they want to feel something, because they've actually disconnected so much from their body and their being that they don't feel. So when you start to wanting to work on yourself, because you've actually numbed yourself, you've numbed yourself so much that you can't feel anything, you have to actually start to recognize the body in any ways that you can. You have to actually take notice of it. So when you're in your body, because I mean, you can't completely, well, I don't know about that. Recognizing your body more and more and more, and coming into your body more and more and more, and starting to allow feelings. You have to open that space to feel. Because what happens is, if we continue to be disassociated and we continue to cut away from that pain, which is what happens, the separation, our being can only handle that for so long, because the inner pain that you're not feeling is going to build up, and you're going to have more shitty experiences, and you're not going to deal with them, and you're going to put them in a container, and you're going to throw them away, and you're going to shut that door and close it off so you don't have to actually feel it. That it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and it starts to like break through. You have no other choice. You're going to have that level of universal slap in something super painful that's going to break it so you feel it. So for me, I had disassociated so much, and through my first relationship with my children, my eldest children's dad, I had disassociated so much through different things and different experiences, and I'd numb myself that I didn't have really a sense of joy or a happiness or sadness. I was like really just meh. If you can explain it, I was like meh. I can't, I was numb. I just shut off so much. I'd shut down so many times. I'd closed off. I'd basically cut off that energy. Cut it off as a coping mechanism. That when I finally, the relationship ended, it like broke through, because it was enough pain afterwards to actually smash through and bring me back into my body. And I had felt things that I'd never felt before. I had anxiety. I was like, I don't think I'd ever had anxiety before that point. And if I did, I didn't remember it. And anxiety to me is actually a very sensory thing. So when I have anxiety, it's this fear of the unknown, but it's also tapping into there's so many different energies externally that you can be overly sensory, and you can have such connection that you can feel other people as well as your own self, that it adds to the anxiety, because you are maybe perceiving and receiving things that you don't even know. It gets more confusing because you've got thoughts, feelings, and emotions that aren't yours. So that can be the emotional anxiety. So that broke through for me, and I spent like 12 months pretty much every day crying. I'd held in so much tears for so long because I wanted to be, and the more that I think about it, the more that I go, I think my masculinity that I have embodied a lot of has purely been protection. A purely been protection mechanism of, if I cut it, the more that I stay in that space, the more that I don't have to go into this softness and this vulnerability, because every time I have, it's been abused, right? So I just cut off more and more and more of that feeling and that flowing and that vulnerable state, and that it just was like, when I would talk about things, it was empty. So when you hear someone that talk, and I can feel it, I feel it now, I'm so in tune with someone where I can hear them talking, I'm like, they're talking from here, but they're not talking from here. They're not coming from here, because if they came from here, you could tell that there is so much emotion and stuff to work through that if they went in there, they wouldn't even be able to speak. So it's getting to that point of, if it's better to start trying to get into a safe space, get into a vulnerable position, go to someone that you know that you can be in safety with, so you don't have to be hit by the really shitty experience where you basically then have no choice but to go through it. Like, we don't have to choose high levels of pain to feel the pain that's inside that we've cut off. We don't have to keep choosing pain. We can choose to look at stuff. We can choose to go, I'm open to receiving this. I'm open to working through this because I want to create change within myself. And we don't, unfortunately, we've been programmed a lot that we have to go through pain to change and to grow, but it's a false belief. We can choose awareness. We can choose connection with our heart. We can choose to be more in tune with our intuition, and it doesn't have to come with the painful experiences. And we can actually ask for it from the Creator, for it with ease and joy. So if you're someone that you notice that you have such a high pain tolerance because you've disconnected so much from your body, because you have that much pain inside of you, that if you go there, you like feel like you could fucking die from crying so much, or from so much hurt or grief or shame, then my suggestion would be to acknowledge it and be like, wow, okay, maybe that is exactly why I don't feel things. And I don't feel things, I want to feel things, or do I want to feel things? Maybe I don't want to feel things. And if I don't want to feel things, then why? And if you don't want to feel, then you're pretty much missing out on a huge majority of what this human experience is about, because it's amazing when you allow yourself to open up to feeling and receiving energy of all experiences. So acknowledge it. Once you acknowledge awareness, once you acknowledge a shadow part of yourself, once you acknowledge that you have this thing and I don't know what to do with it, right? Yeah, okay, I'm so disconnected from my body and my being, I don't actually know what to do with it, but I don't want to keep choosing it. Universe, show me the way, right? Even that, asking, all right, I'm surrendering to this because it's way above what I am capable of understanding. So universe or creator, source, God, show me the way. Show me how I can connect more with my body and being. Guide me with ease, guide me with love, guide me with compassion. Have an absolutely beautiful Friday. I would love to hear your comments below. Please share this video with anyone who you feel may get some value from it. If you are interested in doing some one-on-one coaching and actually connecting to some of those experiences that you may have disassociated from, that have subconscious programs and beliefs that may be causing trauma and suffering in your life currently, send me a message. And for the men that are watching this, I have a trauma release workshop coming up next Sunday that will teach you exactly how to start connecting within here, within your body, so you can actually feel things. and so that you can be an embodied person in all of your life, because with great pain comes so much pleasure and love. But we have to feel both and come into a space of peace and allowance. I love you. Mwah.